17 years ago today, on 9/11, 2001, a horrendous mass murder was committed in New York City. Immediately, from those wielding political power, from those in the media, from the people themselves, came calls for war and revenge. But in addition to that, and for years following, a call also came for more spying, more monitoring of communications, more searches, more interrogations, less freedom, less privacy, fewer individual rights. It was, of course, advocated in the name of protection and security. We were reminded over and over again that this was now a post-9/11 world. That was the justification given for ever-increasing authoritarian controls and surveillance. And from their pain, from their anger, from their fear, a lot of people not only accepted it, they cheered for it, they demanded it. Politicians and pundits were eager to constantly remind us of the ever-looming threat of terrorism and why, to keep us safe, the government needed new powers, needed to enact new laws and new regulations, to implement new controls. But it was not the terrorists they were controlling. It was you and it was me. The privacy of all Americans suffered. The right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure, the right not to be forced to testify against yourself, the right to be assumed innocent until proven guilty, hacked away at, little by little, piece by piece. Did it make us safer? You can debate that if you want, but one thing that is not debatable is that it made us less free. This is nothing new. It is not new in America. It is not new anywhere in the world. It's like a law of nature where public fear increases, public freedom decreases. Because every worry, every concern, every insecurity felt by the people can and will be used by the politicians as an excuse to increase their own power, including their power over you. Whatever you fear, the politicians will offer as a solution a new law, a new tax, a new government agency, a new authoritarian political agenda. The question is, do you still fall for that trick? Does the specter of crime or terrorism, war or invasion, poverty, sickness, violence, environmental disaster, illegal immigration, drug addiction, health scares, financial disaster, gun violence, do these things make you clamor for more governmental power and controls? Because if so, if fear can convince you to sacrifice your own freedom and the freedom of those around you for the promise of security and being protected by those in power, then those who seek that power will always find ways to scare you. They may point to real dangers and real problems, or they may exaggerate them, or they may make them up entirely, or they may intentionally cause suffering and hardship on purpose. But one way or another, if your fear can be used to make you cheer for your own subjugation, they will find a way to scare you. That is the only way tyrants ever gain power. After all, if you thought you had nothing to fear, why would you ever accept a ruler? Why would you ever tolerate being spied on, monitored, extorted, harassed, threatened, dominated, treated like livestock, unless you were somehow convinced that such things were being done for your benefit, to keep you safe? The worst tyrannies in history did what they did in the name of protecting their people, always. And often the people exuberantly cheered for the very regimes that would later oppress them, even murder them. Because those people were taught to fear and to hate. And then were taught that political power was the way to achieve security and justice, the way to punish wrongdoers, to protect the innocent, to make society what it should be. But in the end, political power always serves the ruling class, and always at the expense of everyone else's freedom and prosperity and happiness. So the next time something happens that scares you, the next time you hear of some injustice, some suffering, some unfairness, or even of some mass murder, will you let your fear be used against you? Will you fall into the trap of empowering political parasites and disempowering yourself and your neighbors? Will you believe the ridiculous lie that another law, another government policy, another regulation or restriction, one more violation of privacy, one more expansion of authoritarian power will make everything turn out okay? Or will your mind and your conscience remain clear as you stand firm on principle, and even in the face of your worst fears, whether those fears are justified or not, never let go of the understanding that there is no real security, there is no real justice without freedom.